So I recently got a comment by Jeremy DeMerchant, and he says, you should share the results of the sales challenge. Now, if you don't know who Jeremy DeMerchant is, he is a sales coach and a sales strategist, and he founded the company Permission to Sell. I'll leave a link in the description to his website and his Facebook page. So this story starts off in Moncton. It was around October, I believe. I was at a seminar that was put on by Loral Langemeier, and she was talking about how to generate cash. She was giving tips on becoming an entrepreneur and making money. And she was also promoting her event called 3 Days to Cash. Jeremy was at this event, and since Jeremy is a sales strategist, he was helping out Loral sell the event 3 Days to Cash. And he was at the back of the room at the end of the seminar for people who wanted to sign up for this event. Now, I knew Jeremy. I met him at Toastmasters a few months prior. It was something that I regularly went to, and I had become friends with Jeremy, so I decided to go to the back of the room to say hi. We had a great conversation. It was great to catch up and everything, but unfortunately I expressed the fact that I didn't really have any money to spend on this event, and I didn't know how I was going to get that money, especially at the time I was in school. I didn't have any source of income coming in at the time, so I just said, I really can't do it. I'd love to come to the event, but I just can't pay for it. Now, through our conversation, Jeremy could tell I just wanted it. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to push myself forward, so he saw that in me, and he issued a sales challenge. He challenged me to sell something by the end of the weekend. Keep in mind, this was on a Thursday night, I believe. So he was really putting that time pressure on. And since he was right there in front of me and I really wanted it, I agreed to take on this challenge. I knew, like, my heart started pumping really fast. My mind didn't really know how I was going to pull this off, and it kind of freaked me out, but I really had no reason to say no to this challenge. He challenged me to sell something by the end of the day, Sunday, and then he handed over his business card and he said, give me a phone call after you complete that. After the event, I hopped into my car, started driving home, and my mind was just spinning. I knew that I didn't want to let myself down. I held myself accountable, I held Jeremy accountable, and I really wanted to take on this challenge. I wanted to prove to myself that I was able to follow through on his instructions, and also prove to Jeremy that I had what it takes. Now, let me tell you, I'm really glad that I had that commitment and that passion, because through the next couple days, there were so many times where my mind was just like, never mind, you don't have to do it, or how about you just call him and give him some sort of lame excuse. I had so many lame excuses pop up into my mind, but then I had that overriding thought that kept popping up saying, no, there's absolutely no reason, no excuse of why I can't do it. I don't have any other plans going on that weekend. I kept telling myself, oh, I want to have this weekend to relax or whatever. I just kept coming up with these excuses, or wanting to call Jeremy up and say, hey, can we extend that for another week because it's only been a few days, and how am I going to sell something in a couple days? I had all of these excuses running in my mind, but I said, no, I'm going to find a way to figure this out. There was something that Loral Langemeier said in her event. She said, say yes and then figure out how. So that's what I did. I said yes to the challenge. I committed to the result of selling something by the end of the day Sunday, and I just stuck with it. I didn't let all of those excuses or those other voices affect my decision making and sway and drive me to quit. So when I got home, I told my girlfriend Laura about this challenge, and she was very excited. So the next day or so, I pondered on what I could possibly sell in especially such a short period of time. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I at least wanted to go through the experience of trying, and my goal was to at least be profitable in whatever I was going to do. I thought of creating an information product, a webinar on helping people through social anxiety. However, considering I had no customers or fan base at the time, I only had 3 days days to figure this out. I didn't have anything created. I didn't know how webinars were run. I figured that this probably wasn't the best idea and it wouldn't really run that smoothly. I needed to think of something that I could implement quick. So my next idea was to go to the dollar store or a cheaper store, buy a bunch of umbrellas, and then mark up the price and sell them to people on the corner of a busy street on a rainy day. Unfortunately, it didn't really seem like it was going to rain anytime soon, and I couldn't really predict the weather at the time. So I started thinking about the skills that I could implement. During the summer, I was a painter for the company University First Class Painters, but in the evening, I was a door-to-door marketer, meaning I'd go door-to-door to people's homes and ask them if they were interested in getting a free estimate in having their house painted. I also had a lot of experience of going door to door for a lot of different charity events. So I thought to myself, it might be an okay idea for me to sell something door to door because I know it works. Halloween was coming up, so I knew a lot of stores were selling a lot of candy for cheap. So my idea was to get a bunch of different types of candies and treats and package them into bags and sell the bags for $5 each, door to door. Now let me tell you, my girlfriend loved this idea. She got really excited. She loves looking for deals and sales, so she was a huge help. We went to Walmart and she was looking at the candy for the best deals we could possibly have, the best bang for your buck. So I ended up spending just under $30 in supplies, and I was going to sell these bags for $5 each, and I had 10 bags, which means I had the potential of selling $50 of products. I knew I wasn't going to get rich off of this thing, but I did want to follow through on my commitment and get the learning lessons out of the experience. I wanted to give it an honest effort, even if I failed miserably and didn't sell much at all. So I took my basket and I went out to New Maryland. I was actually living in Fredericton at the time. So in New Maryland, there's a lot of families raising their children there. I went right after supper time, and my mentality was, there's probably like a lot of kids who want some treats right after supper time, so that's how I'm gonna get them. Here's a little clip of me preparing to go door to door. Jeremy DeMerchant challenged me to sell something by the end of the day Sunday. So I decided to take on that challenge and really thought about it, and what I decided to do was go door to door and sell these treat bags. So it has varieties of these different types of chocolate bars, sour, chewy, extreme sour, and pops. Each of these bags are $5. They're just loaded with these candies, so perfect opportunity to have their snack on. It's around 6 o'clock right now. Let's see if I could sell these mofos. So then I took off with my basket, and to be honest, I think I spent the first 15 to 20 minutes just walking around the subdivisions because I was just really nervous to go up to that first house. But eventually I pulled it together, went to the first house, and I think like just after 1 or 2 houses, someone was actually interested in purchasing one of these things. So the woman had a couple children in her house, so she went to buy one of these treat things. But she came down, and unfortunately she only had a $10 bill. Now this is where I learned my first lesson. And she even kind of like made a little bit of a joke. Here's your first lesson, is to bring change, because I didn't have any change to give to her. Now, this did result in me getting 2 sales, but it was kind of in a way that I didn't want to get 2 sales. I got 2 sales because she kind of went, all right, I'll just buy 2 of them and let that be a little bit of a lesson in your entrepreneurship endeavor. Of course, she was very friendly about it, and I made 2 sales. The thing is, ethically, I would have rathered that she would have got her change and took 1, because that's what she rightfully wanted, and it could have easily went the other way. She might have said, no thanks, I don't have a $5 bill, therefore I'm not going to buy any. So anyway, I continued to go door to door to door to door. A lot of people just weren't interested. A lot of people, since they were families with their kids, they already bought a lot of Halloween candy, so there was candy already lined in their houses, so they didn't really need candy. So I actually didn't do that great for the next hour. I think I might have made another sale, or I almost had another sale because a woman had $2, but I said no, I need $5 to make the sale. So, you know, I did well at the start, but didn't do a whole lot of good for the next while, and then decided to take a break and I went back home. So I definitely learned a lesson there. There obviously wasn't enough of a demand for these types of people who obviously already went ahead and bought Halloween candy for their children and for Halloween coming up, and they really didn't need that. So I decided to go with round 2 near the University of New Brunswick. A lot of homes where university students were hanging around there, and this was around 8 o'clock, 8:30 sort of time, and I did a lot better there. It seemed like a lot of university students were jonesing for some snacks around this time of night. So, you know, made a few sales then. So over the next hour, I was able to sell another 4. So I was at 6 sales, and I was like, yeah, not too bad. I sold 6 of them. I had some success. I made some sales here. Not too bad. But at that point, it was starting to get late. It was almost 9 o'clock, and I figured, I think it's almost time to call it a day. Called this an experiment. I got a lot of learning lessons out of this thing. I'm going to go to this one last house. So when I went to this particular person's house, it was very nice because he actually said, ho ho, you came to the right house. I'm gonna buy one for sure. So he ran up, he got some money, and he made his purchase. And I thought, since I was lucky enough, I'm now up to 7 sales, I'm going to go to this one more house. I'm going to go to one more house and then call it a day. So I started walking up to this last house when all of a sudden the guy who just bought that candy started yelling from his front door, hey candy guy, come back. There's more people that want some candy in here. So I come back and there's 2 more people inside that wanted candies, which means at that very last house that I was planning on going to, I ended up making 3 sales. And to top it off, one of those people that were in there happened to be one of my friends. He actually went upstairs and heard about the candy and brought down his $5 bill to get this candy, to be surprised to see me there standing with candy. He's like, oh, hey Mike, what are you doing here? And I kind of explained what I was doing a little bit. So it was a really nice way to cap off the end of the night. 3 sales all at once, and one of them happened to be my friend, and we had a nice little conversation to end it off. And then I took the remaining last candy bag I had left and celebrated by eating it with my girlfriend. So overall, it was a fun night. It was successful. I learned a lot, and I guess I'll cap this off with, again, leading you to Jeremy DeMerchant's website, permissiontosell.com. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll also leave his Facebook page if you want to check out his page. And again, if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask. Peace. Mike Marino videos.